Hello, how's everybody doing today? So I was going to do my night terror sleep paralysis live, but as I delved into the research, I actually got a little bit confused on what I've thought was something my whole life. What I found was that it says night terrors are not remembered and nightmares are remembered. And I remember mine like to a T. I could probably tell you every night terror, I guess maybe nightmare I've ever had in brutal, grotesque detail. And because mine comes along with with sleep paralysis and the sleep demon that comes with the sleep paralysis, I've just always thought they were night terrors. So I have a lot more research to do before I go live on this subject. One thing that I thought was interesting is 2% of adults get these, 2%. And it falls under the category of what is called parasomnias. And parasomnias are sleep disorders like sleep apnea, sleepwalking, things like that. And a night terror is where you thrash around, kick, scream, and wake suddenly with your eyes wide open, sweating, heart pounding, and you're scared, but you have no correct recollection of why. Mine, I can tell you, like I'm so lucid during mine, and they're very similar every time. The same entity shows up every time. Sometimes I can move, sometimes I can't, depends on whether the paralysis comes with it or not. Sometimes it's just, I guess I'm having a hard time saying nightmare because my whole life I've been told they're night terrors. So again, like I want to do a lot more research, but I get the nightmare, and it usually goes to the room getting really dark, even though it's already dark. And then the ground usually turns fluid and red. And sometimes my bed is like floating in this ocean of blood. And the night terror, see, I'm struggling with words. That's why I need to just do some more research, because I want to call it a night terror, but from what I've been researching, it's not. It's a horrific nightmare. And I have this entity that shows up, and when I research sleep paralysis demon, I see a lot of paintings, a lot of depictions of a demon sitting on people's chests. Mine doesn't do that. I can't move for the fucking life of me, but mine's either standing at the end of my bed or running around my house fast. He's very fast. And it's the same entity every single time. I have fought him in my sleep. I know I'm fighting him. I know what's happening. I've taught myself to wake myself up. It takes way too long, and so I always pray that someone in the house will hear me and wake me up, because I can be woken from it. But when I am, I'm so fucking terrified I won't go back to sleep. And there's so much information that I'm gathering, and I really am excited to do this live, because it's teaching me a lot more than I thought I already knew. You know, I can explain my experiences, but the information on it, I want it to be right. And I'm starting to think that I'm not having night terrors. I'm having severe nightmares with sleep paralysis. And one thing that I did find really interesting is that a lot of people will use nightmares that they remember as a way of lucid dreaming. And I'd never read that before. And if I think about it, I am lucid dreaming because I know exactly what I'm doing. I know I'm asleep. I know I'm trying to wake myself. And I know if I'm battling this entity. You know, I've actually fought this entity while I'm asleep, while I know I'm asleep, while I'm trying to wake myself up and unable to. Yeah, there's so much to be said. And so I didn't want to leave you guys hanging on this, but I have I have a lot more research to do. There's so much. And it's funny that there's so much because it actually stated that there's not been near enough studies. So I'm just really, I'm curious of what mine is. I'm curious of why, you know, it does say a lot of anxiety, stress, emotional, you know, emotional damage, even brain damage, you know, causes these. And I could use that, except that I've had them before my head was slammed against the floor and the wall for, you know, 7 years. But I've had stress my entire life, like obviously severe stress. And lately I'm not even having night terrors or nightmares or sleep paralysis. I'm just literally not sleeping. So I have some research to do, and I have a lot of thinking to do around it. I'm going to start onion journaling it, so I can have every detail of what I experience down on paper. And I'm going to go down and see like what happened that day, what happened that week, you know, and see if I can kind of research myself and put some research out there for others too. So on that note, I'm going to leave you, and then we're going to come back to this when I can figure it out more. But it's kind of cool to think about it in the way of lucid dreaming, because I've always wanted to lucid dream and I never thought about it. I am lucid dreaming, but it's just terrifying. So I wonder if I have the ability to turn it around. So I'll be back on this subject as soon as I feel I have enough information to share correctly. I don't want to give misinformation. I just have always been told they were night terrors. But if you don't remember night terrors, then they can't be. Unless I'm just some weird anomaly. Which in many cases, I mean, there's something to be argued there. So I'll be back on this soon. I'm going to get some books. Not just look on the internet too. So I'll talk to you guys soon.